So, guys, this is not our normal um, weight loss group. I'm kind of a little bummed because I don't get to see everybody's face and get to talk and ask questions. We'll try. If you have a question, you can use the chat function, raise your hand. We can try to get that taken care of. But today we're going to start off like we normally do and just really kick it off with what we're going to do for the next several weeks. So first of all, normally we have you guys weigh in before you come to the meeting. I'm going to say if you haven't weighed in, definitely start to do that. We don't have a central place for you to weigh in, but what we're going to ask you to do is to record your weight at the beginning. The other thing is we now have an eVault machine, not only at Anytime Fitness, we have one upstairs in the lactation room, correct? And so in the lactation room. So if you want to get your measurements that you've had before, that will be perfect. One of the other things is we've been away from this for almost a year and a half now. So because of that, a lot of us are going to be starting fresh. All those gains that we've had, we're gonna have to get them back. So let's start. First thing, so we're gonna try to do South Beach again. I think we're gonna do that as a collective like we tried to do last year. I heard some really good things, especially the first 2 weeks when we were doing it. People liked it because they had a little bit more guidance. But as always, this isn't about trying to stick to a certain diet. Every diet is different for everybody. So because of that, what I'm asking you to do is find your diet. So like we normally do, I don't want you to start tomorrow. You don't all of a sudden go tomorrow and start trying to eat what diet you're on. You don't scramble tonight and go, all right, I'm picking the zone diet and then not have the food to eat tomorrow. It's going to just make it to where you fail. We don't want that. So what I'm asking you to do is start on Monday. Gives you the weekend to prepare. Please don't go out and binge your whole pantry to get all the bad stuff out, because maybe we'll start another 5-10 pounds heavier than you are now. But what I would like you to do is just go ahead and start to think about what you're going to do. Clear your pantry away from all the temptations that you have, and I want you to start putting your mind in a good place for weight loss. One of the things that I started with at the beginning of the year was really listening to people who talk about if you don't have your mind in the right place, weight loss is impossible. And I'm really starting to think that this is a bigger obstacle for people, especially this day and age, than ever before. If you're struggling with depression, anxiety, burnout, you're not going to lose the weight. So what I'm going to ask you to do is think about those things. Do you need to have a little bit of antidepressant? Do you need to get those things under control first? Because I don't want you to get even more frustrated or more upset if you don't have the mental capacity or the ability to start losing the weight. So that's really one thing that we're going to talk about through this whole group. The next, get an accountability partner. I remember a couple years ago, one of the cool things that I really loved about this group is when I would go in rounding or when I was in the hospital, people would start to tell me, oh, so-and-so is my partner. We're working together. She's helping me lose weight. He's keeping me accountable. We're walking together every day at lunch. It became more of a big team effort. That's what I'm looking for again this year. Team effort. Find somebody in your department, somebody in somewhere else in the hospital to really help you do this. For you nurses who love to have cake and candy, cookies, pizza on the weekends, maybe not do that to get your other people in the department tempted. The other thing I know is going to be harder this year is maybe the food selection. We really worked extremely hard last year before COVID to really be able to get food selections that were South Beach appropriate. So that means you're just going to have to prepare a little bit more. The nice thing is if you want the South Beach diet, most of you hopefully still have a book. If not, we're going to email Paula, and we'll try to get you a book so you can get on that and you can read up ahead. The nice thing about South Beach, remember guys, is at the back of it we have a lot more. You have your menus. Oh, sorry. Remember that you have your menus, so that those automatically can help you if you're going to the grocery store this weekend. You can start to buy things off of that. Most of these diets, if you look online, will give you a free, even if it's a 7-day meal prep plan, something cool that you can do. There's also some new programs out there. There's one, I can't remember the name of it, that is even linked to Walmart. It has your meal and it will actually buy exactly what you need from Walmart, so you don't go in there and buy other stuff. That would probably help save me a lot of money not walking in the stores. So something that you can do as well, something that you can really help with getting all your meal prep in the weekend and not have to worry about it during the week. The other thing I like about South Beach, remember, is that this is something that you can eat with your family. It's not that, you're going to have to prep your meal and then your family's meal. Well, maybe if you like fish and the rest of your family doesn't like fish, maybe there's some issue there. But this is mostly going to be something that you guys can do with your family too, and get it going. Let's see what else we want to talk about. Oh, so other things we're going to do, exercise. This year, I really want to put an emphasis on exercise, and that may just be simple walking. Okay. We've got the walking trails at the hospital. Use them on breaks, put that extra effort in those times that you have a free second. All right, so let's dive in a little bit more on how we're going to do things. So again, we're going to be meeting multiple times. You guys should have the calendar in your email flyer for this. Each one's going to have an emphasis on a different topic. One of the things that I'm excited about talking about is, again, all that emotional reasons for us not to lose weight. It also goes with why we eat. Is it because we're hungry, or is it because we're celebrating? Is it because we're depressed, anxious? What causes us to overeat? That's one of the things that I'm really excited about looking. We're going to look at other things such as sleep apnea, if that's causing you to gain the weight or not lose the weight that you're trying to. And we're going to have other people that are going to come on, and they're going to give us, again, some of their perspectives from exercise to dietary. Okay. Let's see. Does anybody have any questions from here before we go any further? All right, we got a couple people in the room. Anybody? All right. Anybody out in Zoom land? Okay. No, that's on mine. All right, good. So it's not anybody else. All right. So let's recap. Monday, I want everybody to have their plan in place for what they're going to do for weight loss. Next, find an accountability partner. I want you to commit to each other, whether that's making sure your food is accurate, that you're not cheating on your food. The next is also to help keep you exercising. One of the things that I think we haven't ever emphasized is weights. One of the things about weightlifting is that the more weight you have, the more calories it burns. We're not really worried about calories with South Beach, but it's something to think about. Something that if you're eating, 4,000 calories of anything, you're not going to lose the weight. So keep that in mind, that we were going to want to increase muscle mass. And then lastly, remember to log your food. That's the biggest thing. Studies have shown that if you don't log your food, you really don't know what you're putting in your mouth. You forget that you had a cookie, you forget you dropped off your diet here or there, and you may be putting in extra calories in your mouth that really are hampering you. And that's pretty much it. Again, last call. Any questions before we go?
Are there specific apps that you recommend?
Yes, let's talk about those. That's a good idea. One of the apps that I like the most is the Lose It app. A lot of people can use other things. To me, Lose It works the best. Some people like MyFitnessPal, but Lose It for me, it seems like it works better. Maybe because I've used it more, but that's what I like. Manny, you have one. Which one is it that you liked?
I used the Lose It, and I have the paid version, which
Yes.
helps me for carbs, net carbs.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also have used Carb Manager.
I knew that was the other one. So Carb Manager is another one. You know, we're looking at carbs with South Beach diet. We're looking at lean fats and trying to get the carbs out. Remember, again, maybe we should actually go back over this again. Remember, the first 2 weeks are going to be your more strict diet. It's going to be eating pretty much exactly like South Beach talks about, going through their menu. After that, remember, that's the second. Then you got the second phase. That's the more lenient phase. We have those handouts again this year that are going to help you with the foods that you can eat and that you can eat and you can't eat. You can get these from Paula down in HR, or we can email them. So again, probably the best thing to do would be email Paula for that. So remember, phase 1. I know that you're probably not going to see this, but this is what you're going to get. It's going to go over exactly what phase 1 is. Remember, that's about 2 weeks. That's going to be avoiding all the refined carbohydrates, grain, fruits, beans, legumes, sugary drinks. If you're having trouble with your diet, maybe it's because one of the things you're eating is actually a refined carbohydrate and then you don't realize it. Remember, you can touch base with multiple people. We've got dietitians in the hospital, and I'm sure Libby will have no problem answering a quick question. Maybe not 150, but 1 or 2. She's been really good about this. Next. Oh, this is only the phase 1. Perfect. Why don't we just focus on phase 1? Because then when we get to phase 2, we'll go. That'll be in 2 weeks. We'll talk about that before we go further. Okay. So this phase, remember, refined carbohydrates. Then pick up your packet if you need, or get an email from Paula, and we'll go from there. If you have the book or you need the book, again, email Paula. All right. Anything else, guys? Okay. Oh man, Mandy wants me to talk about water. About that. Okay, so the other thing that comes with complications with any of these diets is sometimes it's an issue with constipation because you are decreasing your carbohydrates. Carbohydrates usually include a percentage of fiber with all of them that you eat. So with that, increase your fiber. Take a fiber supplement. You can do Metamucil if you like, or you can do just tablets or gummies. Be careful with the gummies because they also have added sugar, so you don't want to do that too much. But it's always good to increase your water. For most people, water, you want to drink more than just 5 cups of water a day. Okay. Be careful if you have congestive heart failure, or if you have any other medical comorbidities that fluid restrictions is required. I would be very careful with that. Vicky asked a good question. Do we have to do a South Beach, or can we use something different but still use the diet plan? You can do something different. As always, you can look up. If you use this 14-day body reboot that from Paula, it actually just tells you what to avoid and what to do, and it helps you. It even goes through. They recommend 64 ounces or 8 cups of water. I would say if you're healthy and you have no comorbidities, actually increase that a little bit more. It's a little hot right now. You're going to lose a little bit more than that, especially if you're being physically active. But no, you don't actually have to go completely with the menu that is in the back of the book. That was a good question. Anybody else?
What's your opinion about keto diet?
Oh, don't do that to me. I'm trapped now. I love keto. We have multiple people in this hospital when we first did the weight loss group who did amazing on keto. Keto seems to be the quickest way to lose weight. Again, with keto, what I'm going to recommend, especially if you're a diabetic, talk to your doctor. And if you are my patient, you better come see me. I don't want anybody dropping their blood sugars and they're taking their diabetic meds and having an issue. But keto, the way keto works is it reverts your body into eating, basically eating the fat. And so because of that, it helps you burn fat sooner. One of the cool things I never thought about before is when I was listening to a guy who does keto all the time, he says the nice thing about keto is keto doesn't stop. You go to sleep, keto continues because the keto cycle continues even while you sleep. There's a lot of biochemistry to that I'm not going to bore you with, but that is my favorite. Most people will say, well, it's not sustainable. I'm not telling you that it's going to be your forever diet, but if you need to lose 40, 50, 60 pounds, it may be a good option to do for the first 20, 30 pounds and then switch over to something else. The reason why we chose the South Beach diet last year was because the South Beach diet also, when you get into phase 3, gives you a more realistic way of eating and living with a balanced carbohydrate, protein, and fat diet, which people had asked me for something a little bit more balanced the first year. Paula, does that answer? Or do you want more for that?
That's good, thank you.
She just wanted to trap me with that one. All right. Anybody else? Well, we're getting some questions.
I have one. Okay, in the morning for my breakfast, I usually eat just oatmeal. And I say oatmeal is mixed, and so is like, I can't eat Raisin Bran cereal. So what would you recommend me eat for breakfast that'll keep me going?
Okay, so all right. So one of the things you can do on this is you can. So the question is what do you do if you're like a high brand, high fiber breakfast, and now we're having to go to something that is not so many carbohydrates? There's a couple things. Flaxseed can be added to a lot of foods without ruining the flavor. So if you want to add flaxseed to some of the things that you eat, that can help. Again, increasing water is always going to be a benefit to that. And then eating some of the vegetables that they talk about. Let me see if they have any on here that we can. Yes, spaghetti squash. Perfect. Spaghetti squash is extremely high in fiber. If you want to do sauerkraut, you can do sauerkraut. But some of those other things that have a higher fiber content in the vegetables. So as the dietary department knows, I love my egg, cheese, and ham omelets. So I put a little onions and tomatoes in that to help with getting a little bit more fiber and a little bit more flavor into that. That's a good question. Anybody else?
Yeah, so then eggs is basically it, and Dr.
Well, it's not just eggs. I mean, some people can do, we can go really European and you could do a ham and cheese roll up for breakfast and then add a side of, I don't know if you want squash first thing in the morning, but you can do maybe a side salad. One of the things, if you realize, we could get on my soapbox about how the American diet is really horrible because we introduced a lot of sugars and pastries and breads. One of the things that we can think of is if you go somewhere else, you go to another country, there's not too much of a difference between breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They're pretty much the same type of food. So we have to kind of break out of that sugary diet. Did you have something for me,
I
Donna?
was going to ask about my cholesterol. So I did keto for a while.
Yes.
2 eggs and 1 bacon every day for breakfast for like a year. And my cholesterol went up. And you told me I wouldn't have a heart attack for 10 years, but that doesn't sound that good.
Okay.
So what number am I can't remember what it was, but should I not stay under 200 for my cholesterol?
Oh, see, you guys are really drilling me now. Okay, so when it comes to carbohydrates, anybody or in fats, sorry, if you cholesterol and fats, if anybody really is interested in liking podcasts, there's a podcast called Revisionist History. It's by Malcolm Gladwell. If you listen to his, I think it's season 1, he has a whole expose on cholesterol and how cholesterol is not actually what we were taught. There was a war on fat that started in the 1990s, and since then obesity has skyrocketed. Some of that was because they reintroduced carbohydrates to flavor food because they didn't have fats to flavor food anymore. So thank heavens I can say I was too young for this. I was told that McDonald's fries used to taste much better than what they do now. Part of that was they changed the fat and the fries. And so because of that, he goes through a whole history of how McDonald's fries doesn't taste good. He has one podcast about that. And then the next podcast he has about how cholesterol education was taught to us. So the thing is with cholesterol, there's multiple different cholesterols. You have your total cholesterol, which usually is a combination of your bad cholesterol and your triglycerides. Then from there, you've got your high density cholesterol. That's your good cholesterol. That's what actually prevents you from having heart attacks. The truth is that there's actually multiple different other cholesterols that we kind of lump together. The problem with lumping those together is that each one of those types of cholesterols have an actual benefit to us. So what we've noticed is that despite cholesterol levels, sometimes they don't actually correlate to heart health. It was something that we were taught, and that was something that we have kind of put on to healthcare now. The thing is the people that have the hardest or the worst time with heart attacks are not people that have cholesterol issues. It's actually our diabetics. More diabetics have heart attack. It's a predisposition for heart attacks. Well, the reason why they have an issue is more because of the carbohydrates, not actually because of the fats. So this is kind of counter, if you want to use the word countercultural idea. That's why you have to be very careful. Please talk to your doctor and don't say Dr. Ross disagrees. Be gentle about it and say that he has different opinions. But the truth is we have to look at cholesterol as part of the problem, not the whole problem. I would rather somebody have a little higher cholesterol but losing weight than somebody who's extremely heavy and has an issue with their blood sugar. So I will take a bump in cholesterol over a high diabetic sugar load. Does that answer your question?
It does. I got one more question.
Okay.
So I tend to lose 30 to 40 pounds every single year for like 10 years. Health-wise, is it better for me to just do cheating?
Oh, Donna, that's a really good question.
Like yo-yo thing, is that worse for me, or can I'm just looking for an excuse to just stay like this.
Donna, it's not okay. Either way, let's put it that way. All right, so she asked a really good question. Some of us are big yo-yo dieters. They'll lose 30, 40 pounds, and then they'll gain the 30, 40 pounds back again, and then they lose it, and then they gain it. The truth is that's actually really bad. It's actually one of the reasons why men have higher issues with heart attacks. There's some reasons for that. I won't bore you with those facts. But the truth is yo-yo dieting, the reason why it's a big issue is actually the way you gain it and the way you lose it means that there's a lot of transitions in your fats, also letting the fat deposit in other places. But the truth is the more fat you have on your body, the less you can regulate your blood sugar. So the problem is then you have the issue with your blood sugar. So Donna, it is pick your poison on that one. And so my answer is don't pick either. Okay, but that was a really good question. Okay, I'm so glad you guys are asking questions. I really don't like just talking to a screen all day.
Do you think BMI is a good monitor of a person's health?
Paula really likes getting me in trouble. Jeez Louise. No, BMI is not a good indicator of health. We know that you can see a bodybuilder who's all muscle, no fat, and his BMI could be over 30, and people are going to say that he's unhealthy. The truth is basically what health carriers said is at least we have something to go by. My answer is that's probably not the case. You can look at somebody to see if they're healthy or not. You can see if how they hold their body, and other things will follow. The reason why what I mean by that is if somebody's BMI is 27, 28, getting closer to 30, and their blood pressure is perfect, all their labs look good, they're probably going to be an overall healthy person. But if your cholesterol is getting bad, your sugars are getting bad, and your BMI is 27, it's probably because of your weight, and you're starting to get into a metabolic syndrome. So with that being said, you've got to be careful about just basing things off of BMI. You got to look at the whole picture and not just off of a number. Does that help?
It helps. So I read that a person with a higher BMI who's out there exercising and being active and eating fairly healthy is better than being someone with a very low BMI who sits on the couch all the time.
Yes. So we call it I had the name on it. There's a name for it, and I just forgot it. Basically, it says that you're fat fit, basically, or thin sick. There's a term for it. So basically, it says that people who just sit around the house and don't eat and aren't active are usually going to be sicker than people who maybe are a little heavier and are more active. The problem is, Paula, with that, insurances don't go by that. They go by numbers. And so the truth is some of this is always going to be run by insurance companies. It's going to be run by more of the data, not by actually looking at people. And the truth is we should always look at a person and not by the data. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, guys. If that's it, no, they're done. They're tapped out on the questions. So, guys, I hope this was informational. If you have any questions, you guys always know that you can stop by and see me. You can ask me questions. I'm really excited to start hearing about some of you guys losing weight. Hopefully this year I do the same and actually stick with it. And maybe I'll give up a Diet Coke or 2 a day. We'll see. All right. So guys, again, we'll see you back in 2 weeks. Okay. Have a good one.